In Colorado, the Utes are the longest continuous residents of the state. The Utes were very nomadic people. They traveled from southwestern Colorado to Grand Junction, to Craig, to Estes Park, to Colorado Springs, and then back again. And we had different bands throughout those traditional hunting areas. There were 7 bands of Utes, and then I think when the reservations started being implemented, they put the 7 bands onto one solid reservation, a large reservation covering the western slope. There was a lot of people moving to the state of Colorado that wanted to live in the state, and they wanted some of the traditional lands that the Utes were in the areas. So putting the Utes onto reservation seemed like it was solving a problem at that time for the state and the federal government. There's really not too many instances where American Indians have had the opportunity to tell their story. Their maybe accounting of a massacre, of a battle, of a skirmish, of a relocation. We had an Indian agency out of Meeker, Colorado. That Indian agent wanted to, by the name of Nathan Meeker, he wanted to make Indians farmers. The Indians used to have a racetrack in the area. They used to bet on the horse races. The Indian agent plowed the racetrack to make it into a farming community. The Indians didn't like it, they retaliated, and they killed Nathan Meeker. They called that the Meeker Massacre, and then the state of Colorado pushed those northern Utes, which were 4 bands in that Indian agency in Meeker, out of the state of Colorado. After that, it pushed the other 3 bands, the Weemanooch, which is my tribe, the Mowatch, and the Capote, down to the southwestern part of the state on a very small strip called the Ute Strip. And that was around the 1880s. The bear dance is one of the oldest dances recorded in our history, and we had one location where we met, and that was around this tree called the Council Tree in Delta, Colorado. It was this massive tree, and the tribes would all come together at that point. They would meet and they would talk about what they do, what some of the struggles they're seeing, and then we'd hold this celebration. The purpose of the bear dance is a celebration of spring. After the bear comes out of hibernation, the bear's hungry, and so the bear goes to the trees and starts scratching at the trees and sharpening its claws. And so these singers will be all set alongside of each other, and they have a stick. It's called a Mowatch, a growler that has notches on the top of it, and it makes this growling kind of noise. I'm most proud of my family's dedication to the tribe. From my great-grandfather, who was the last traditional chief, Chief Jack House. He died in 1971. He was 82 years old. And he was a man that became a chief at a young age, at 20 years old. And he faced a time in the early 1900s where land was taken away from his people. The way he grew up was no longer an option. Confided to a specific reservation, into a specific land area, and not being able to go beyond that point. And the knowledge that we've been able to pass on, and that I'll pass on to my kids, about the importance of knowing where you come from, the importance of knowing who you are, no matter if you're from the United States or if you're from another country, knowing where your roots are. In Colorado, overall, we have over 45,000 American Indians living within the state across all 64 counties of the state, with the highest population being here in the Denver metro area. There's over 200 different intertribal groups represented. Altogether, the Mountain Ute tribe is 600,000 acres, and the Southern Ute tribe is 300,000 acres. The Southern Ute tribe is made up of an allotment tribal land system, and the Mountain Ute tribe is a communal owned land system, and the only difference is communal is that everybody owns it. An allotment would be private property. Each tribal member would receive a certain amount of land. When I think about home, I think about Mancos Canyon. It's a canyon that the majority of our tribe lived in, and I always think of that canyon as the heart and soul of the tribe. It's a peaceful, vast wonder. The Mesa Verde National Park is just a portion of Mancos Canyon, but it's a very powerful place in the tune of that generations of indigenous cultures well before the Utes lived in that area. There's huge ponderosa pines, and if you sit just a minute and you just have complete silence, you can hear the wind going through and rustling through these trees. It sounds like a flute. When we look at Indian communities in general, we always say we're all related. We've had our discrepancies and our disputes over time, but today we all look at each other as brother and sister, and I think that with our creation stories, they would also mirror that and say that. 564 federally recognized tribes are throughout the United States, and each have their own ceremonies, their own dances, their own language. The purpose of the bear dance is a celebration of spring. And for 3 days, we have this dance where you dance not in front of each other, but to the side. Women have to wear shawls, men wear scarves, and sometimes beaded gloves and beaded vests. And you're either a part of the singers or you're part of the people who participate. If one of the dancers falls or trips, then it's all done. Then the bear dance is over and we wait till next year's dance. Everybody closes it out with a feast, to break that bread with one another. Those celebrations that we have are what I take away as a really great preserved jewel that we have within the community. Currently, over 70% of the American Indian population across the country lives off of the reservation. You have almost two different groups of American Indians today, those that live in urban settings like Denver, Colorado Springs, and those that you have living back home on the reservation, like Ignacio or Toyac. Some would call the Southern Utes today more forward-thinking tribe in terms of doing business off of the reservation, having real estate, a sand and gravel company, and oil and natural gas companies. The Mountain Ute tribe is a little bit more agricultural based. They've had a farm and ranch enterprise as their first enterprise. They are two different bands. We call them sister tribes today. They have a great relationship along with the Northern Utes, but they have their own governing tribal council for each tribe. I think we'll start to see in the future more and more just an understanding of American Indian tribes. We have these community, we have these dances, we have powwows. We're vibrant, we're within the community. We're lawyers, we're doctors, we're professors, we're governors and representatives, judges, police officers. My family has had a small portion of the overall struggle for the Ute people, not just with the state of Colorado, but with the federal government. If we made some kind of impact on that, that's what I think I'm most proud of.